Welcome, dear viewers, to Turkish series Stars, your trusted corner for candid reflections, bold conversations, and the kind of revelations that echo far beyond a single headline. Before we dive into today's intense story, make sure you subscribe, tap like, and, if you want to go a step further, hit the subscribe/cattle button to join our community. Your support fuels our work and keeps this space alive for new voices, new perspectives, and passionate debates. Today, we open a chapter that has shaken the Turkish entertainment world from within, an admission so raw that it left fans and industry insiders stunned. The radiant, famously private Alina broke her silence with a confession that cut through the glitter of the spotlight and landed straight in the heart of those who know how brutal this industry can be. She looked into the camera and spoke words she had never dared to voice publicly before, words that changed the tone of every conversation around her. I did something I can't take back. I made the worst decision of my life. What seems like a simple sentence is a doorway to a labyrinth of memories, betrayals, misread intentions, whispered games behind closed doors, and the heavy cost of choosing to be honest in a place that doesn't always reward it. For years, viewers embraced Alina as a symbol of grace and talent, the star who could transform any character into a living, breathing soul. But behind that poise, she was wrestling with a reality that very few ever glimpse, one that she has finally decided to unpack with a clarity that both hurts and heals. She continued with a stark reflection that reframed her journey, being straightforward, sharing my truth openly, and keeping silent when I was treated unfairly. Those were the choices that cost me the most. With that, Alina laid out a paradox many artists recognize. In an environment built on appearances, sincerity can be both a virtue and a trap. And as if to draw a definitive line under the point, she added a sentence that reverberated across social media within minutes: honesty doesn't fit here. Not the way it should. That sentence peeled away the velvet curtain over the inner workings of show business. Competition that blurs into personal vendettas, tiny misunderstandings that snowball into real obstacles, reputations nudged off course by strategic gossip and carefully placed distortions. In this world, a career can be bruised not because someone lacked skill, but because they didn't manage the silent power of alliances or refused to play along with subtle manipulations. Do you believe an artist should compromise their openness just to survive? Tell us your perspective below. We always read every comment here at Turkish series Stars. Of everything Alina said, one confession drew the most collective gasp: some days I think the true mistake was choosing this profession in the first place. For an actress whose craft seems woven into her identity, the sentence felt like an earthquake. But that moment of brutal clarity revealed how deeply she has been moved and wounded by the machinery around her. It was not a rejection of acting itself. It was an acknowledgement of the battlefield she has had to cross simply to remain herself. Her words carried another layer because of who stands beside her. Alp Navas, her partner in life, has been witnessing this struggle up close. Friends say that during the quietest nights, when the noise of speculation faded and the doubts grew loudest, Alp would sit with her in the kitchen at 2 a.m, speaking softly, reminding her of the roles that shaped her, the letters from fans that never found their way into headlines, the small victories that no rumor could erase. Even so, he has felt the sting of the same cold air that chills anyone who refuses to bend. A whispered comment here, an insinuation there? Enough to cast a shadow over his name too. He stayed, not as a public relations move, but as the person who knows how real her courage is, how costly dignity can be. The wave of reactions was immediate and overwhelming. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere you looked, supporters were rallying around her vulnerability. Comment after comment poured in: we respect her even more for daring to say what others won't. She's brave for telling the truth when it's easier to pretend. Finally, someone is naming what really happens behind the smiles. It was proof that the public doesn't just want perfect images, they crave authenticity, even when it's uncomfortable. But let's talk about the part of her testimony that sparked the fiercest debate: the working environment. Alina explained that on several sets, her habit of being direct, saying exactly what she thought about a scene, a script, a schedule, was repeatedly misread as audacity, friction, or defiance. Maybe my real error was refusing to hide the truth just to be liked, she said, not as a complaint but as a sober assessment of a pattern many professionals know too well. It raised a timeless question. In a career that depends on collaboration and goodwill, what matters more, staying authentic, or being strategically quiet? Tell us where you stand. In your opinion, what builds a lasting career in acting, sincerity or caution? We're watching your thoughts in real time, and your insight always enriches the conversation on Turkish series stars. Alina also detailed the grinding pressure of headlines and timelines, the way a sentence pulled out of context can morph into a storm, the way unverified tidbits become an accepted storyline, the way a single video clip can be edited into 5 contradictory versions. She described the slow erosion of her calm as narratives she didn't recognize were used to define her. For supporters, this was the most infuriating piece. Why should someone known for respect and professionalism be battered by careless speculation? Why is it so easy to watch a person's spirit be tested by stories that crumble under the slightest scrutiny? And yet, in the middle of all this, she did not sound broken. On the contrary, Alina's voice held steady as she laid out her plan to move forward. The road ahead may twist, but I've learned from what hurt me. I won't abandon who I am to make things easier. If I failed, it was in believing that being completely transparent would protect me. It didn't. Still, I'm going to come back with more strength than before. It wasn't bravado, it was a promise made to herself in front of everyone. Those close to the couple say Alp's presence has been more than supportive, it has been grounding. When an offer was rescinded after a rumor flared, he didn't answer with public outrage. He answered with patience, urging her to pick projects that make her proud, even if it means waiting longer, even if it means saying no when saying yes would look safer. He reminded her that the work will outlast the noise. And when he finally spoke publicly, it was brief and pointed, don't mistake kindness for weakness. That single sentence reframed the conversation around both of them. All of this made Alina's message to young actors even more urgent. Talent won't be enough, she cautioned, and dedication alone won't shield you. You have to learn how to steer through complicated relationships, to hold your ground without losing your humanity, to recognize when a smile is a chess move and when it's real. You need a mind that can endure the chill of being misunderstood, and a heart strong enough not to harden into something you won't recognize. In the aftermath of her statements, discussions erupted everywhere. From fan pages to private group chats, about how much of the industry's cruelty is avoidable and how much is baked into the system. People told their own stories, interns dismissed for speaking up, actors sidelined after refusing a manipulative request, crew members punished for backing the wrong person. It wasn't just a celebrity confession, it became a mirror. And as the conversation widened, one thought took root. If more people in the spotlight chose to speak with this clarity, would the machinery change even a little? For those who worried that such a confession might signal retreat, Alina offered the opposite. She clarified that her reflection about choosing acting was not a goodbye but a reckoning. If there was a mistake, it was believing that excellence and good intentions would be enough to protect her. They weren't. But she intends to keep making work that leaves a mark, and to keep choosing collaborators who value the same integrity she refuses to compromise. In the quiet after the uproar, that choice is what will define the next era of her career. As for Alp, his role in this chapter is not a subplot. He is the quiet witness who knows where the bruises came from and how much faith it takes to show up anyway. He has his own battles with perception, being treated like a symbol rather than a person. But his response has been to stand still when the ground shakes, to be the one who doesn't run when it gets uncomfortable. Together, they're learning how to build a bubble of truth around themselves without becoming cut off from the people they work with and the audiences they cherish. This story doesn't end in a neat resolution, and maybe that's the point. There are no quick fixes for the tangle of ego, ambition, and politics that stitches the industry together. But there are choices. Small, stubborn choices that recalibrate the balance bit by bit. Choosing to speak. Choosing to pause before responding to a provocation. Choosing to correct a lie without escalating a war. Choosing to keep your tenderness even when cynicism looks like armor. So we turn to you. What do you make of Alina Boz's confessions? Do you see pieces of your workplace, your community, your experience in what she described? Have you ever tried to be honest and found out the room had no space for it? Your insight helps uncover the parts of this world that glossy interviews skip. Share it below. We read everything here at Turkish series Stars, not just to keep up with the conversation, but to learn from it. Before we go, a final thought, the one Alina left us with as the cameras cooled and the room returned to itself. Maybe I expected truth to be enough. It wasn't. But I'm still here, and I'm still me. The sentence was not bitter, just clear, like light sliding across a floor at the end of the day. She didn't ask for sympathy. She asked for understanding, and maybe for a little patience while she rebuilds at her own pace. And judging by the chorus of voices that rose around her, she won't be rebuilding alone. Alp is there. The work is there. The audience, it turns out, is still there too. If today's story moved you, if it reminded you that behind every performance stands a human being figuring it out in real time, then don't leave without taking action. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like so more people find this video, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next chapter. If you want to support us directly and become part of this growing family, click the cattle button. Tell us which actors, actresses, and public figures you want to hear about next, and which truths you think deserve the light. We'll be back soon with new revelations, right here on Turkish series Stars.